Hello? Can you
Hi.
hear me? Hello?
Hey.
I can hear you. Oh, good.
Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. How are you?
Good, good. Your GoFundMe's going great, huh? That is amazing. Oh, that's so great. How,
Yeah,
how long how long does he, with what you've earned so far, how long will he have?
2 months.
2 months? Oh, that's all? Oh,
Yep,
well, keep going. Keep going. The longer the better.
exactly. Yeah. So it's got to be 3 months to
Oh,
six
does it?
months.
I see three. That's kind of like their requirement.
Their
Gotcha.
requirement is 6 months.
Is 6 months. Okay,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, if I can do three, then I can figure out the next three.
Yeah,
So
exactly. No, everything helps, right? I mean, seriously.
yeah,
Well, that's
exactly.
great.
So
Yes.
thank you guys for being so supportive and awesome. Um, Considering the day, the things, what do we want to like? What angle would be fun to go live with today?
Turn up my volume.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just my computer volume was really low from where I was using it yesterday for something, and all of a sudden I'm like, I need to turn that up. Plus, I want to be really close.
Hello.
Yeah, you don't want me in your improv group. It'd be kind of crazy now. I never let loose. But yeah, topics. So anything that you guys wanted to do? I had written down a few things. Let me see if I can find where I put that. But this was kind of for long term, so we can do anything today. If there's
Yeah.
something that you guys are wanting to do specifically.
Um, Daphne, did you read my chat message?
Oh, let me
Just on the
see.
screen.
Oh, I don't see. Okay, let me see if I can. This is tech stuff now, so
I
let's see if I
know.
it's not just coming up. Oh, I see. Chat. Cool. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, are we live right
No, no, no. But
now? Oh, okay.
we're sharing space. That's all.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Kelly.
Hi. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Good. Good. Um,
So I'm sorry
yeah,
we
I'm
missed last week. Obviously, it was a little nuts, but yeah, I don't know. I think we could have a fun conversation. I just want to kind of wrangle the energy in because mine has been so far away, and so it's
yeah.
like, okay, let's come
Yeah.
together. um,
Yeah.
all things considered, what about writing? What about writing things that write like talking about writing things that are personal or hard or like vulnerability around writing. I don't know what we can let's fluff it up a little before we go live so we can have something juicy.
That's a really good, that's really interesting that that's what you brought up. How has everybody's writing been this since we met a couple weeks ago? Out of curiosity, how is anybody flowing? Is anybody struggling? Is anybody okay? I've had the
Yeah, sure.
same.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've had a really hard time. Like I couldn't even do the portrait thing that we talked about last time. Like I
I
just
know
really I kept
yeah, I started it and I think I got about 50 words in and it was just like, I don't even want to write anymore about this person. I already am not
yeah.
interested in this person. Like I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, that was my experience too. And I think like, how can we do this in a way that's playful so it takes less of that like serious it's like it seemed too heavy and serious. I'll say that. Like it seemed like work and labor. And yeah, I know
Right,
that's
right,
part of
right.
it, but
But
how can we kind of like jumpstart it by starting with something playful or like silly or nonsensical so that we can kind of break through that barrier of like, oh, I got to really, put something down that's meaningful or something, like I feel
yeah,
like I'm getting in my own way. I know that, but it's also like the everything feels a little bit
I
heavier.
think we should go live right now.
Okay.
I'm going on Facebook
Okay.
to give more the people that see my posts some lightness too. Okay, I'm
And
gonna
maybe
say
it's just like,
exploring playfulness.
So are we, so we're live right now, right?
No.
No, okay.
No. I'm gonna say exploring playfulness
to
as
break
a
through.
precursor to
Yeah.
writing.
Oh, you're doing, this is on Facebook.
It's like writing from the heart, or writing what's true, or writing, writing freely. Any of those would probably work, or something like that,
Okay, we're gonna go live right now. Okay, I wrote
Okay.
exploring playfulness as a precursor to writing. That's it
Okay.
for now.
So, the part of me, like, I really wanted to do the portrait, but I'm just going to be really frank. You know what? I wanted to write something that was meaningful, and I couldn't get there. Like, it was just like a detailed of random thoughts that I couldn't quite place in order, or it just didn't feel right to do it, if that makes sense.
No, it's like,
Yeah.
I'd written down these things that we could talk about in episodes or whatever, but one that just seems like an issue for me specifically is the balance between just enjoying our writing and feeling pressure to write something meaningful. And like Kelly, I know that for you know, a lot of your pressure is self-inflicted, like me
Totally.
too. like you're not all going putting a knife to your throat saying, Kelly, write something meaningful now. But there is a thing with writing. It's like you want to it's a thing of writing something that you enjoy, and we all enjoy different things. So it could be something totally frivolous and ridiculous, and versus writing something that has meaning for someone else that will maybe transform their thoughts or their lives, or something that could be everlasting, like a quote or something. But I don't know. I mean, there is a balance between that. I mean, everything you write can't have such depth and meaning. Then it becomes, like you were saying, arduous. It becomes work and hard, and writing is hard as it is. So where do you find that balance between the hard and doing something that matters versus just having fun with it? I mean, I think, this isn't like a job per se, right? I mean, this isn't like, Kelly, like your job. I mean, what we're doing here is we're wanting to be creative, and we're wanting to do something outside the realm of a job. So, yeah, that's hard. That's hard because I think you end up kind of taking yourself too seriously. And if anyone were to have feedback, like if you write something and they're like, oh my gosh, I love that. It almost like that pressure now is on, because now that's the expectation, right? It's like, oh, well, keep giving me that, keep doing that. And it's like, oh, I can't, that was, that maybe that was a once in a lifetime thing, or,
Yeah, totally.
Well, I think Elizabeth Gilbert speaks to that when she wrote Eat, Pray, Love. Like, that was such a hit. And then she wrote her second book, which it's not even really much. It's like not a memorable book. I don't remember the name.
I loved it. Committed. I never read Eat, Love, Pray. I couldn't read it. I got through the first couple of pages. I'm like, this isn't for me. But Committed, I devoured.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
So isn't that funny? So that's what was her experience too, was kind of like, how am I going to match that now? And then she writes this, and for the masses, it wasn't anywhere near as popular. Although, yes, you have some some big fans of it. But I think that happens, and that's part of that growth. Carol Dweck talks about this in her book, Growth Mindset. Have you guys read that book?
No.
So it's the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. And the fixed mindset comes as a result of saying, like, you're such a good writer. And versus, I love the way you wrote this. I love the way you explored this character. Right. I love how you went to the depths of this. because then you start to identify yourself as a good writer. And if you don't put
Ugh.
something out that's good, now you're a bad writer, and it shatters the identity, which then makes it really hard for you to write.
Yeah, it's like deer in headlights, right? I mean, there's just
Yeah.
no way you can live up to that. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
So
unless you
it's
actually are just an amazing writer, maybe you can, but for the majority of us, you know, like the prompt that Kelly gave us. I mean, yeah, I mean, 50 words in, and it was that portrait. It's a really cool prompt. I loved the idea behind
Kelly,
it,
will
and I
you
was
say
like,
the
wow, this
prompt?
is really neat.
Yeah, will you
Pardon me?
say the prompt again? Because we are live. So
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it's like a 200-word prompt. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a prompt for a 200-word portrait where you take just like a singular focus on one person in one instance, or it doesn't have to be a person, but the idea is that you're painting a picture of something or someone in front of you from one point of view, and as succinctly as possible, like in 200 words. Which seems like 200 words seems like, oh, it's only 200 words, I can do that, but that actually, makes it even harder, because what are you pulling out,
mhm.
yeah. And then even like when you think of someone, you don't think of someone in one doing one thing, you think of the whole person, so it's sort
Mhm.
of hard to kind of grab like what you want to portray in that portrait. So like the one that I was reading who gave me the inspiration for this was about uh this woman watching her grandfather sit at a piano that had been gone for quite some time. The wife got rid of it, and then as when the wife passed away, the daughter got him a piano, and the joy, and she just kind of, and he just loved music, and that was like his joy in life. The way she describes it, you see him, you see the joy, you just get the whole picture of this person in like very few amount of words. Like it's kind of crazy. So
Yeah.
that's where that came from. But I think doing something like that it's a great exercise probably for choosing words and emotions and sensations. But it's just like, where do you pull that from?
Well, and
I
it's
couldn't quite get
yeah.
there.
Well, and it's I
no,
think sometimes like this is where like tapping into the intuitive writer, right? Versus this mental
Yes.
intellectual writer where you have a dictionary of words or an encyclopedia of sensor, you just have books in here about what things are, the structure of words and the meaning and the description. But it feels like to me, because I'm a very intuitive writer, meaning like I just trust, like I listen to my body as I write. And oftentimes I have to do something physical, like I have to go for a run. It's almost like I have to shake up my guts in order for the communication between my body and my mind to work that ends up on paper. I don't know if that makes any sense. Do you guys do something physical? Does that help you get into that like more intuitive space versus the intellectual space?
oh, definitely. Yeah,
Like
definitely.
Daphne, you're a runner.
I am. So running is yeah, the running and the walking. I mean, I do my best. I get my best ideas. I do my best writing after that.
Okay.
For sure. Oh yeah. It's like the creative juices just start flowing as I run, for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's almost like
that's a
when you
big
get
thing.
out of your head and we stop thinking about what's the right way to say something or what's the right word. And you sort of like, I think for this prompt in particular, Kelly, is like getting out of the mental space and getting into the physical space so that you can almost experience what you are trying to write, if that makes any sense.
It does, and I do that too. The physical is like where ahas and like the best ideas come from, because I'm not thinking about it. It's just transporting that onto the page is where I get stuck. It's
Got
like,
it.
how do I, it's like the thought when I had it, it was brilliant. It's like, oh my God, yes, that's it. And then I go to sit down and write. I'm like, what? Like, what is it? What was that idea I had? I'm like, I think there's like a disconnect between the actual, the thought or idea or memory or whatever, and then going to the page. I think that's where I struggle. It's like something about sitting down and actually trying to write something or starting to write something. I get really, well, this last 2 weeks have been particularly intense. Usually I can muster it and get through it, but this last 2 weeks I was like, I didn't even want to look at a document. I didn't want to do any of it. And that's really interesting. And that could be resistance, or it could just be like, wow, maybe I shouldn't be writing, you know, or maybe maybe this is a sign saying, no, this isn't your jam. Like, you go do something else or whatever. Who knows?
No, that's so me. I'm so quick to just want to throw everything, just throw it all under the bus and say, oh, what am I doing? I'm not enjoying this. So why am I even doing this? Like, who has a hobby that they hate? You know, I mean, what? So, and
Yeah,
you
and
know,
like,
and
yeah.
it's like that cycle, right? And then I'll get away from it, and I'm like, I don't want to write anything. I can't stand it. Oh, just why do I do this to myself? And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, no, I have to do this. You know, so it's just that weird cycle, right? That you cycle through.
And it's
I don't
kind
know
of
what
like,
that is.
it's interesting that we're all runners because it's like, I feel like there's so many associations between running and writing because you're never done with either one of them. And you can always get better. And there's always like days that really suck when you're running and days that are really awesome when you're running, you know? So
Right.
there's so many things that go, you know, in line with the writing and running.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
I love
and
that. Yeah.
you never really know sometimes. I mean, I can get with the running and the writing, it doesn't always make sense. You can get, you know, you're eating well, get a good night's sleep, you're ready for your run, you go out there and you just suck. And then other days
Yep.
you're like barely getting out the door and you end up doing this amazing run. And it's the same thing with writing. I mean, I can,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, you sit down and you're just like, okay, let me just get some stuff out. Let me get some words out. And then you just get into some sort of weird zone where it's not even like you really writing. And you're just like, wow, this is just flowing. And then other times, yeah, it's like just you feel like you're back. I can't write a sentence, you know, and that's with the prompt. I loved the prompt that you gave us.
Yeah.
I love that challenge. That was like really, like I really liked it, and I'm going to do that. But I started it and 50 words in, and I literally like it was crap, and I didn't even like the person I was writing about. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ugh, I don't even want to know another like I can't stand this person already." And
Yeah,
what?
right.
Like what? So yeah, it just wasn't. It was weird. It's weird. I wonder if it's spring. Is it because the weather's nice? I don't know. I'm in Ohio, so for us, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, the
yeah.
weather's nice. I gotta get out. So I don't
Well,
know.
people can say maybe it's the weather, maybe it's Mercury retrograde, maybe it's just
Yeah,
heaviness in
maybe
the
it's just
air.
like or maybe it's just like the percolation that has to happen before, you know, it's like sometimes you can feel really heavy with something with a writing concept or a prompt. And then like, you know, 2 or 3 weeks later, it's like, you know, like then you get the inspiration and then maybe you get the impetus to do it.
Yeah.
But I guess what I would love to know and what I was asking about earlier is like, are there ways, and I don't want to say to trick your brain or your mind, but are there ways that you can move out of like the idea of how that this is work or labor and move into how can I make this fun and playful? Like where's that playful creativity where you just kind of be ridiculous and let yourself just get in the moment of just writing without any expectation of it or it being meaningful or interesting or even logical, right? Like what are there, I wonder if there are things that we can like tell ourselves or like go to. Like that's why I love the challenge so much, the writing challenge, because the prompts were like unexpected and very like outside the box, you know, they weren't like the generic writing prompts. They were something that you're like, oh, you know, like write a steamy ad as, you know, whatever it was. And I was like, yes, I can do that because I didn't take it seriously. It was playful, it was fun. It was like, oh, let's explore this idea. Where would I go with it? You know, and then it like it like removes all inhibitions about what this should look like or how I should write it or I want to look good or I want to, whatever, all those things that come up, you know. So
Right.
that's what I was thinking. Maybe like we could come up with like a really goofy prompt today, like that just is just ridiculous, and just let ourselves kind of be free and just play with it, you know.
Yeah. Well, one of
Yeah.
the prompts is to actually, you know what? But instead of using a prompt from our challenge, how about we go to let's play with Chat GPT and see if Chat GPT will create a silly prompt for us.
Yeah.
And let's see if we can't find something kind of, I mean, we can think about it because we're writers. But do you guys want to do that?
Oh, I would love to do that. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was
It's-
going to
yeah.
say that there's some improv exercises that are really fun to like one story, one word at a time, or story, what is it? One word story, where we tell a complete story, but only one word at a time. And there are ways to just activate, yeah, they're just ways to activate all kinds of things, your listening skills, being creative, really paying attention, steering the course of it, of the story arc, you know, literally all you have is one word. So that's kind of fun. And then there's all kinds of like improv games that we play that get your creative juices kind of flowing. Because that's one space that I know really well that allows you to be endlessly silly and creative without any judgment, you know, and you're just like, you can be gross, you can like do, you know, whatever.
Yeah, you know, maybe this is what we need today, because it's weird that we're all kind of in this sort of, you
Yes.
know, weird kind of stuck feeling. So
Yeah.
we have all these expectations around our writing and stuff. And it's like, so yeah, maybe we just need to just have fun.
Yeah.
Just like
Well, and I
Kelly
will
was
say,
saying,
like Kelly
yeah,
asked,
just have a
Kelly
good
or
time.
somebody asked me, who was it? My friend Eduardo, I think, asked me. Somebody I was talking to yesterday asked, like, "Are you writing?" And I was like, "No." Like, I am writing every day about something different, right? But I'm not writing for the Runaway Girl for my memoir. And so that's been like, I can't even imagine sitting there writing stories right now. Although yesterday I thought, well, maybe now is a really good time if you just took a half an hour in between all of the things and actually sat down to write, right? And I thought, oh, maybe I haven't done it yet, but maybe just using whatever the mood is that you're writing, that you're in, to write from that. Like, I'm grumpy and I feel stuck. And so what if we used like just how you feel as the access point to like opening
Yeah.
the tap?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Because that's another thing that's like an improv, when you're there on stage and let's say you kind of lose yourself for a minute, or you don't, you kind of go blank, right? Or you really don't like what the person in front of you, your scene partner, is saying. You can literally just use the emotion and stop and be like, I don't like what you said. And it becomes part of the scene, you know, and then it creates something new and different. So
Sure
sometimes
does.
just using the emotion, yeah, I mean, it can be awkward, but, or I've done things where I'm like, we're in a scene and I'm like, I don't know what you just said. Like, I don't get it, because I really don't, but I just knew that I just instinctually, like, I'm going to use that real like thought in the scene. And then people are like, oh, whoa, that's different. I didn't expect that. So
No, it gets everyone's attention. It sure does. You're kind of like on pins and needles at that point, waiting, like, oh,
yeah,
what's coming? What's gonna happen next? You know, so that probably does shake it up a bit.
it does. So maybe
Yeah.
that, like that same concept of using where we are in that stuckness, or in that like, I don't know what to write about, like writing with that instead of thinking it should be something different, like
Yeah,
making it
that's-
bad.
Yeah, you're right. The expectations of writing. Wow, when you place all those expectations, like Kelly places a lot of expectations on herself, and then Vanessa, you have people asking you. So there's expectations attached to those questions when they're asking you, are you writing? I mean, that's with expectation, right? So that
Mhm.
feeling you get when they ask you, do you get that feeling like I do, where like literally that word loser pops in your head and you're like, oh, I'm such a loser, you know? And so now it's like, they're probably just interested if you are. But yeah,
Exactly.
wow, it kind of leaves you feeling weird, you know, like really bad about
Yeah.
yourself. Because you just,
Yeah.
I like, for us, like when Kelly said 2 weeks, she's like, have you guys done any writing in 2 weeks? And I thought, oh, has it been 2 weeks that I've been a loser? You know,
Like you feel a little bit of shame almost, right?
yes. Oh my gosh. And so, and why? What's the expectation, right? It's not,
Yeah.
you guys don't
Yeah.
care about, I mean, who's placing this expectation, right?
Well, I
That's
will
a good,
say
that's
that
a good conversation though. Like let's talk about expectations. Where do they come from? What are they for? What, you know, how can we use them maybe in more productive ways instead of them, you know, weighing heavy on us, but actually, or just acknowledging like, oh, there's an expectation here. Do I want to entertain it, or do I want to go, you know what? I can let the expectation go and just let it be, you know?
Yeah,
And
can
maybe, yeah,
expectations motivating? I don't know. I mean, can they be things that motivate you to write, your expectations?
I think if you understand them, they can. And I think what happens is, and you guys tell me, but what happens is when we get an expectation, we almost go into fight, flight, or freeze. It's just this instant, like, oh, you know, or you run, like whatever it is, you have this almost like traumatic response. But I think that it can be used if you understand what the expectation is. Like for me, when I hear, have you been writing for your memoir? And I said no, and I felt like all the excuses, and it was like, well, what am I feeling? And it was kind of like, here's the deal. I'm halfway through, this is gonna sound intense, but I'm halfway through my life. I've been sitting on my stories for all of this time, and people forever have been asking me to write my book. Every minute that I'm not writing my book is a minute closer to my death, right? I don't
Wow,
want to die.
expectations are, whoa.
But this is what, like, it's in me, right? Like,
Right,
I
right.
don't want to be 80 when I write my book. I want to do it now because I want to enjoy the process and everything in it. So every time I put it off, I feel like I'm letting myself down because I actually really want to do this. And
Yeah,
I
you've
feel like
mentioned
I
this
have a
before in
time
the
crunch.
past. Yeah, you seem almost like under the gun in a way. Like
Yeah.
you have things you want to say, you want to write, and you're feeling that pressure of like the clock's ticking. Like
Yeah.
that seems to be your thing. Like
That's
you
my
feel
thing.
very much, yeah, like
Yeah.
and
And it's
Kelly,
also
for you,
relevancy,
it's like
right?
more meaningful. Like you want to put something out there that has meaning attached to it.
Mhm.
That's why you
And
have
that's
so
so
much fun when
interesting.
you write
Yeah.
the slutty
Yeah.
stuff, because you're like, this is just for fun. This isn't gonna, but you have so much fun. So how are you gonna, like kind of put the two together, I mean,
Yeah.
and
Well, you
all
wonder
these
like what would you
expectations.
yeah, and you wonder what would be written on the page if the expectation if the expectations were released that it would have to be something or look like something or read like something. Like to me, I feel like I wonder what that would look like because it would be so free. And instead of coming from a place up here, maybe coming from somewhere deeper,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I love that.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
that's our exercise for the next whatever.
Hey, come in.
We have
yeah,
somebody
that
coming
could be
in
the
and out of
key
the
for
room.
turning expectation from being arduous into something that you want to meet that expectation because it's something from your heart, something that you enjoy and love versus something you need from your brain where you need to do because of these reasons or, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be really cool to kind of, if we could do something that would switch that
Yeah.
expectation where you're pulling that from.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And where's that coming from? Is it really from us or is it from, something we think should be happening or whatever? I mean, I think that's always
Right.
an interesting question anyway,
Yeah, like where is that yeah, that's true. Where
Yeah.
is it coming from? Like why is
Right.
that in us to begin with?
Yeah.
That's deep. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Like
sometimes, I mean,
something pushing us. Is someone pushing you, Vanessa, to get your words out because they need to be out there? I mean,
yeah, I
or
feel like
telling
it's
you have
spirit.
so
I don't
much to
feel,
say.
yeah, I definitely feel like it's my intuition. She's like, get
Mhm.
your ass out there. I've always said that my stories are my inheritance and that for one, they're putting my work out there would be lucrative, right? It would open up the doors for me to be on stages and speak and tell my story, more than just money from a book. But it is a wider purpose is to say, like, to humanity, I get you.
Mhm.
And while I'm young enough and agile and have the vitality, I want to do this. So it's really like my intuition's been knocking at my door for a long time. Like, come on, come on, come on, come on, girl. Let's go. And so I don't know what you guys, how what where your expectations come from or where your nudges come from, but I feel like mine are very like from my soul. Like, get this out there. It's time. Stop screwing around, And then I think it's funny that right before I sent in my book proposal, my computer completely fritzed out, like literally was like blinking and flashing, and I couldn't use my laptop. And
Wow.
I was laughing because I thought, That's so funny. I'm like literally 4 hours and 59 seconds away from submitting my book proposal that I've been wanting to do forever. And my computer literally was like choking on itself, like having a complete panic attack.
It's like, is this a sign? Should I
Yeah.
wait or?
I just felt like it was the revert or the opposite energy trying to get in my way, you know?
It could be like, it could be, I've read things where as soon as you get close to maybe achieving something you want to, or doing something that you really feel like you want to do through intuition or whatever, the closer you get, sometimes the more obstacles, because they say that it's, the universe is wanting you to make sure, now this is really what you want to do. Let's really make sure. So they start sending you all these things to kind of get in your way. And then you have to push through them to
Yes.
really bring home and say for sure, yes, this is exactly what I want to do.
Yes.
And so that's hard. I mean, it's like that final, and you did it. You got your proposal out there.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, but exactly. And so it's like, I think that as writers, as creators, as humans, like we all have these experiences in different ways. And the key is to, like you said, Kelly, maybe it is just resistance, recognize, like call it out. Maybe it's resistance, but maybe also, and I think you said this, Daphne, is that sometimes things kind of have to get crazy and weird before there's flow. And my philosophy teacher, John Osborne Hughes, he talks about the agitation period before creation, or the tension, before something is released. So maybe our 2 weeks off, our 2 weeks of just weirdness was really about this agitated state internally where things are percolating and I don't know, just being gross and messy and gooey before we actually feel like there's something to say again.
Yeah,
No,
that's really interesting, because I resonated with what you just said there. It does feel like agitation. Like if I had to put a word to it, that's what it feels like. I'm agitated by it, right? But it also reminded me of a quote. I think it was by Ann Patchett, but I'm not sure. Something about I'll never be able, like her whole thing was like, I'll never be able to write the book that I know I can't, that I want to write. I just have to accept that I'm going to write the book I'm capable of writing. And I thought that was beautiful, because it does release some of that like expectation of the book, the book that you imagine in your mind, that you think about, you have, but you're not capable of that, or it kind of says, okay, I can't write that thing, but I can do this writing. I'm capable of this writing. And then it kind of frees. I could see where that would be freeing for someone who's, dedicated to the act of writing, especially
Right.
as a living, right? Like because if you're basing that on a living, then that would be a whole nother level of
Yeah.
expectation. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. What are you capable of writing?
Yeah. But I'm capable. I'm going to be, honor what I'm capable of writing, instead of it being like, I want to have this story and it's not quite, you can never express what you really want to express or depict what you're trying to depict. So it's like, I'm okay with that. I'm going to let that go and just write what I'm capable of writing. And I think that's just so freeing.
Yeah,
That really
I love that.
is. That really
Immediately,
is.
I saw an image of like how I've been I put my title for my book, which is The Runaway Girl. And then it's escaping the Hare Krishna cult and other comedies. And when I wrote that, I was like, had all this intense pressure now to take all of my stories and squeeze them into a comedy. And I was like, wait, I can't do that. Like, I have to take the pressure off. So I said, escaping the Hare Krishna cult and other adventures. And then I was like, okay, that I can write into. But even that, I feel like writing a title first is an instant limitation.
Yes.
Do you guys
would
agree
agree.
with that?
I do.
I would agree.
You're basically putting a ceiling on what you may write. I mean, you're kind of putting it in a box, whereas you don't know what you're going to end up with. It's not. You're like, oh, well, it has to be under this title. This doesn't go with that title. I can't write them. Getting off topic or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, speaking to what you're saying, Kelly, is just thinking, I was thinking about the capability piece, meaning if we set up these expectations ahead of time, we disconnect from our capability, meaning just be present with what wants to be written and write
Yeah.
from there, right?
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
That's a lot more, that gives you a lot more room. And then it doesn't, that block doesn't come up, that agitation doesn't come up because you're not trying to write that book. You're just, you're saying, this is what I'm capable of writing and this is what I'm going to write. So you're no longer, you can't give yourself the excuse of, oh, I can't write that, so I'm not going to write anything. Right. I mean, I think that's the real meat of that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
being
that.
okay
That
with
is
that
very freeing.
expectation. Yeah.
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 Yeah. When I read it, I was like, oh, okay. Like it did kind of relieve me, like, oh, okay. So it's okay that I can't write that book ever, that I'm never going to be able to write that book, but I can
Yeah.
still write. I can write to what I'm capable of writing.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
didn't change me writing this the last 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I still never got, I did try, I sat down and it just was crap and I was agitated and I just getting angry and like, this is, I'm going to give this up. This is stupid. Why am I wasting my life on this? My time and energy. I
No,
went
I've
down the
been
whole
there.
spiral.
I think I said those exact words today, actually this morning. So, yep, I'm there. But no, you're
Yeah.
right. It's like the expectation of, are you good enough? Are you a good enough writer? Is what
Yeah.
you're writing good enough that people will want to take their time and read it? Because their time's valuable. There's so many books out there. There's shows. There's all different ways to entertain or to find meaning in things. So what value you place on your own writing, based with your, with your expectations. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's hard,
And
Yeah.
it's so interesting that you're saying that, because when you were talking, I was thinking about Elizabeth Gilbert and Eat, Pray, Love, and she was kind of blown away by the success of that book. She had been writing for years. She was a prolific
Mhm.
writer already, and it was interesting because I'm like, well, that book, she didn't mean for that necessarily to be out in a bestseller. She was writing about her experience from a very personal place, kind of making sense of what she had been going through. And I think those books are the ones that kind of hit you the hardest, and that seem to be like all of a sudden these amazing books that, even the authors are like, what? Like, why is this the one,
Yeah.
And I think that's a great thing to remember too, that sometimes if we, like, for instance, I'm thinking about you, Vanessa, in particular with the Runaway Girl, because it's like if you're trying to write for people, like it loses that the connection and heart. Like it's like you really do have to go in and like do this as a journey of and they say what, like, the best memoirs are written from a place of forgiveness and love, right? Like
Yes.
it's not about what happened, it's why it mattered. So
Yeah.
it's so interesting, like if you get in that vein of like, why does this matter, why does any of this matter, what is this all about, and what did I learn, what did I gain, what can I share, and I think
Mhm.
those things are what make memoir so powerful. you know like the Glass Castle, she never judges her parents, she's just showing you what happened and why it mattered, and I think those
Exactly.
are really interesting. Yeah, so that's a big part of that too, like just trying to get in that space. And maybe that's my problem, right? Like, this desire to wanting to write something meaningful. Maybe that's not really the point. Maybe it's just that I write to make sense of my own world or my own understanding of what's happening or what could be possible. And maybe just remove myself from that whole, like, if someone else reads it, maybe no one will read it. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe that would help me get past that agitation of, oh my God, I'm not going to write something meaningful. Like maybe that's just another block or an obstacle to keep me from writing. I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, I don't know. I'm talking in my butt right now. But just a couple thoughts, random thoughts, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what could we do today that could bring us into a more playful space? Do you want to we want to play my one word story game
Sure.
Why
Sure.
not? Why not?
Yeah.
and just see what we come up with? Okay, and then we can do a funny prompt. So I found some prompts came up that I think they came up for us before. It was similar on ChatGPT. It was like a cat who discovers a secret portal to a world where all animals can talk, but the catch is that they speak in rap lyrics.
Oh, love it. Love that. Oh, I am down for that.
The other one was to let's see, the character wakes up one day to find that they have the ability to understand and communicate with inanimate objects. What do they learn about the secret lives of everyday things? Which,
Wow, that's like Beauty and the Beast talking to the dresser, or didn't
Yeah.
Yep.
things come alive and
and then the last one was a group of aliens come to Earth and they start taking over, but they become obsessed with playing pranks on humans, leading to a chaotic and hilarious series of events.
All of them are fun. We should probably post those in the comment section and let other people kind of choose what they would prefer to write.
Yeah,
From.
let's do that.
Yeah,
So
that would be really fun.
I'll go over to Facebook because we're here. Let's see. Okay, I just put them in Facebook. So y'all, if you're following us and you're coming in late to the game, we're just three friends who like to write, and we're trying to get over ourselves so that we do write on a more consistent basis. We've been going live on YouTube for a few weeks, and we decided to start going live on Facebook and YouTube and invite you guys to join us, comment on us chatting. If you hear something that you like that we're talking about, feel free to, again, leave a comment, ask us questions. And then as we drop into our writing prompt at the very end of our time together, join us for that. So I posted 5 writing prompts that I pulled off ChatGPT. They're not mine, but they're still fun. So feel free to pick any of those 5 and write something with us, and then share it with us in the comments below, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. Right now, we're going to play an improv game that's called One Word Story. And basically, I'm going to kick us off and say one word, then Daphne, you'll say another word, and Kelly, another word, and we're going to go around in that order to create a story, one word at a time. And that's it. So we can kind of think of, a lot of times we think in terms of like fairy tales or traditional type of stories, just to give us some structure. You know, out of the story, there might be a hero and might be a villain. There might be a journey or a quest. There could be something fantastical. It can be anywhere in time, space, and nothingness. Like, it doesn't have to be like Little Red Riding Hood kind of thing. But we're just going to play. So that just creates a tiny bit of framework. That's Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth. And anyways, so yeah. All right. Are we ready?
do we want to structure it around any certain type of story, like fantasy, or no, there's no structure. Okay, I've never done this.
I'm just gonna
Cool.
say a word. Yeah, we're just gonna create as we go
Whoa.
along. We're just gonna see what happens. Okay. I will start off with something simple. Okay. There
Was
Joy.
in
blood,
And
when
she
hit
him
with
Oh, I have to have one word. Plates.
made
her
Hungry.
for
more
Sushi.
Okay, yay! We'll start again. I'm gonna have each of you start it. Start one word story.
that
So
was
we
like a
talked
combo
about-
between like a True Blood episode and
So I wrote the words down. Do you guys want to hear it back?
Yeah.
sure,
Fun.
that's fun.
Okay. There was joy in blood, and when she hit him with plates, made her hungry for more sushi. This is like Mad Libs, but without like all the context in
is.
between.
Right.
Exactly. And you don't, I mean, we came up with something totally weird, so and fun. And so that's what we'll continue to do it. We'll just do it 3 times because Daphne, you can start, and Kelly, you can start. But that way you just kind of start fluffing up your imagination and having a little bit more fun. It's really fun when we do it in a group because everybody stands. So when I play improv with people, 90% of the games are standing because I think that there's a really powerful connection between your gut and your brain when you're in the create mode. So when you're standing, you have full access to your body and your, all your parts, head to toe, and that can really inform the words you use. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Is that physical, right? The
Yes.
physical again.
very big.
that tie in.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, Daphne,
so
you kick us off, and then Kelly, and then
Before.
I'll go. Huh?
before,
Oh. I can't say more than one word. Okay. They,
New,
who,
ratted,
her,
out,
they,
ate,
the,
crumbles,
of,
magic,
and
had,
enough,
starlight,
that,
they,
suddenly,
flew,
across,
the castle, I can't say more than one word.
flew across,
Yelling,
oh wait, that was 3. Never mind. Sorry. One howl.
I'll add a howl in there.
Should we end it at that?
yes.
Okay. All right, Kelly.
Before they knew who ratted her out, they ate the crumbles of magic and had enough starlight that they suddenly flew across, yelling, "Howl, howl, howl!"
Can you give us a howl? Come on, you guys, give us a howl.
I like how it mutes. Like, nope, you're not doing that.
Yeah, right. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Jezebel,
New,
How,
to,
spit,
really, really,
far,
and
often,
choked,
violently,
on,
wetness,
violently choked on
wetness,
wetness. Okay.
is that like Katniss, but
I like that. That,
came,
from,
her,
is it my turn?
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Came. Tainted,
tears.
I like that.
Okay. Jezebel knew how to spit really far and often choked violently on wetness that came from her tainted tears. Oh, that's almost poetic.
I can see them now standing up and discussing that in, a poetry class. The real meaning behind it.
Yes.
That's awesome. See, and
Well,
what's
that's
cool-
fun. That brings fun into words,
Yes.
like wordplay. So that's
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you see like the power of just one word at a time. So if we're just present and writing one word at a time, you're like, okay, we can come up with something kind of like whatever, it's fun.
Right.
Which apparently was a struggle for me because I kept wanting to say more than one word.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you often find is that one or all of us will remember the story, because you're just kind of like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. Outside the box. Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, that kind of fluffs you up a little bit, and gets you going. There's all kinds of fun things you can do, like a sentence at a time, which like 3 words at a time, which makes it a little bit more, you have a little bit more control over the story, which is kind of fun. So yeah, what did that inspire or fluff up for you guys?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It kind of got me thinking about basically this whole episode and how we have been stuck with our writing, and we want to write, we have expectations to write, we have all these plans, but we're not doing it. And so this was a simple exercise. So maybe for next week that we give each other, because this is Write With Us, and the point is to kind of 3 friends getting together to kind of talk about why we aren't writing, but what we can do to write and get words on the page. Maybe something so small as for next week, we each have to write a sentence, just one sentence that ties into our projects, not just like a random sentence, but maybe one that actually does tie into the different projects that we're working on, and just one sentence, and then we would read them next time,
Okay.
and just see if we can do that. Maybe that'll spur more sentences.
Yeah.
Yes, I
But
love
yeah,
that.
mine
I love
being
that.
that I'm writing the paranormal serial fiction. Vanessa, your project, Kelly, yours. And so just one sentence that really is from that, just a easy kind of challenge, and let's see if that spurs something.
Well, I
Yeah.
wrote something this morning that I'll share with you. That was one sentence that I was thinking about my book. So I'll share that with you guys now, because that's inspiring, Daphne, because I think that it is just after, like, when you let yourself just kind of be flow. Like, I wasn't thinking about my book, like I have to write, but I was thinking about the question, why aren't you writing? And the sentence that I woke up with this morning is, sometimes running away really is the best option.
Oh,
That's a good one.
that's a great opening line.
It really is. That is a really great
I got chills
opening
from
line
that. Yeah,
hook,
that's
for
awesome.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
Very
many
And then the
people that
second
wouldn't keep
part
reading.
was, but when it isn't, it's hard to know for sure after years of running. So that first piece was like in big, bold, like,
Yeah.
bam.
And look at the simplicity of that sentence, right? And how powerful it is. And that's such a great reminder to me of, like, I don't have to make it, I overcomplicate it. It could be that sometimes that one sentence is the sentence,
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's interesting because I did write one sentence too. And it's like, bad, awful things always happen in the middle of the night. That was
I
the one
love
sentence.
that.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
great. I especially, yeah, that's
That's it.
But not-
That's a
it's
Daphne
very
line.
paranormal. Woo! I like it. Can I borrow your sentence now?
Yes. You could probably make it a lot better even. But that's so interesting, right? Like, it's like I kind of have dismissed like just the simple act of the one sentence. Like, maybe instead of the book, maybe Daphne is really onto something powerful there. Just one sentence. Love
Yeah.
it.
I
those
think
were
that's
both great
fantastic.
sentences. Wow, you've already done your requirement for the.
No,
but
that doesn't count. That was an accident. I'm going to do
but
it
no,
on
those are two
purpose.
very great sentences, and yeah, it's funny with the expectation. Remember our prompt from 3 weeks ago, I think, and then we had to write a story, and I wrote that one about the Rapunzel story.
Yes.
Yes.
And I just threw out there, and it really seemed to make an impact on you guys. And it was funny because as soon as that happened, and then my husband, he read it and he's like, oh, I love this. You should really like post this, or you should do something with it. And as soon as that expectation was attached to it, I like literally never looked at it again, didn't think about it again. I was like, oh, it's too
Oh.
much. It's too much. I can't handle it. And then when it walked away, isn't that crazy? And it was
Mhm.
just a simple little story. It wasn't
Yeah.
any, but you place something on it, you make it more than maybe, or I don't know. It's just a
But you
strange.
know what? That's another good point, Daphne, because yes, it was a simple story, but it was so complex. I mean, it was like there's so many different psychological elements happening, that you could almost like go almost word for word and like develop it. So I thought it was pretty powerful personally.
Yeah.
That's true. And it was just what, 7 sentences? I mean, it wasn't even, so something with these and your sentences today. Yeah, let's go from there, because I think we're on
Yeah.
to something now. Mhm.
Daphne, if you put it in like some kind of doc, or I can even put it on a blog on my website, then we can guide people to that story to go read it and kind of analyze it from that place. Or if you put it on Medium or something,
Right. Oh, you did
share a
say
link
that.
with me.
Right.
Yeah. Because I think that was such a unique just accident, right?
Yeah, it's funny where it is just the simple sentences can have such
Mhm.
an impact. Like
But you
Kelly, I mean,
trusted yourself.
your sentence, I mean, Vanessa, yours is like the perfect beginning of a book. I mean, seriously, that is, the hook is great. And then
Yeah.
Kelly, your sentence, I want to steal it. So there you go. Like, oh, so
Mission
can have it.
accomplished.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we close up today, is there something
Okay.
you want to write? If we give ourselves 5 more minutes, what do we want to answer? Want to answer that cat prompt, or is there
Can
something
you
else?
Yeah, can you read them one more time? The first 3 that you read originally, because the cat one was like an instant yes for me.
Okay. Write a story about a cat who discovers a secret portal to a world where all animals can talk, but the catch is they speak in rap lyrics.
that sounds great.
I love it.
Bitch, I got an itch. I ain't no snitch. I got a twitch.
I
My
love
mama
it.
bitch. I don't know. Want to do it?
Okay.
Okay.
Daphne, does that sound good to you?
Yeah, no, that sounds great.
Okay.
Mine's, I don't know what. Oh, wow. It's a challenge. I'm like paranormal fiction. I'm like, okay, rat, cats, and other. Yep, let's do it.
So I think when we're this is perfect because it ties perfectly in with the playful creation, right? Like we don't have to take it seriously. So like if your
Is there
cat,
expectation attached to this? Because if there's
No.
expectation, I'm out.
None.
no,
Zero
you
zip
know what?
nada.
You can even expand this out more. Maybe it's not a cat, maybe it's some other animal, maybe it's not rap, maybe it's some other type of way they speak, right? So like you can really kind of just explore it from your own, like whatever you want. But I think it just gives us a place to start.
Yeah, no, it sounds fun. Let's do it.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Are we setting a timer?
All time.
Okay. Perfect.
So folks watching, we're going to write for 5 minutes. If you're going to join us, please do so. We are going to be writing a story about a cat who discovers a secret portal to where all the animals can talk. But the catch is they all speak in rap lyrics. So we're going to give ourselves 5 minutes. Set your timers. And we got 5 minutes on the clock. Let's go. Okay, time's up.
Get in there.
Now we're gonna be really vulnerable and right. I do not want to go first.
Okay, I'll go first because I didn't get anywhere. I never
Okay.
got to the hip, and that's the part I was really excited about, the wrapping. But the compulsive scratching with compulsive scratching, Jinx finally eased himself of the anxiety of living in this small, meaningless world where sounds traveled incessantly, but none were ever absorbed. His thick black paw set on the slick floor. Growing tired of his limited ability to express himself, he shook the litter. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, mine was kind of the same way. It was like a setup. I just get there to that other, and then time's up. It's like, oh.
Yep. So we need 10
I can
minutes.
read it. If I can read my own writing, because I'm telling you, after typing, I cannot write. So it's like,
Okay.
I mean, that is like, what's that?
What is that? Tell us.
Yeah. Okay. After coming to a stop at the opening of the tunnel, the mouse turned, knowing the cat was hot on his trail. He was sick of being chased by this cat every night. Nothing the mouse had. Wait, sorry about this. I cannot. Oh, noticing the mouse had stopped, the cat lunged. It was in that second that everything went dark. The cat, confused by what had something a quick kill into a strange sensation, looked around. That was it. I can't read my own writing, but anyway, you get the idea.
We get the
Yeah.
idea.
An action scene.
Great opening though.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Were we avoiding the wrapping? I don't know. For me, I'm not that creative.
See, but that's the thing. It's kind of like that was the prompt. So it doesn't mean the prompt is always meant to be inspiration. Like
That's true.
a prompt is never meant to be something that limits you. It should just make you feel something, right? And then you just go for it. So I think you guys did great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, you gonna read yours?
inspired you. Okay. We walked through the valley of the shadow of light, screeching and scratching like silly cat Sally. We climb to high heights, we slink, we saunter,
Oh,
we
love
dink,
it.
we ain't no mink.
I mean, that was a good prompt because you could go in so many different directions. Like that's what was so great about it. And it
Mhm.
also, it's so funny because they always say like in stories, start in the middle of things, like start where things are happening. So it's kind of like, it would be interesting now, like if I took this for the week and use this as my thing, like where could I start where I'm in the middle of it? Like when I'm not setting it up, when I'm not having to,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're
So-
thrown right into the middle of a story, it's like, yep.
I want to read to you guys what I just typed in ChatGPT to write a rap lyric about a cat.
Oh, love it. Love it.
So I'm going to read it out loud. And then we'll close up. Okay, listen up, y'all. I got a story to tell about a cat named Whiskers who raps like hell. He ain't your average feline. He's got mad flow. Every time he opens his mouth, it's a dope show. Meow, meow. I'm a cat who spits fire, rapping all day, never getting tired. From the streets to the alleys, I'm the king of the game. And every time I drop a verse, it's insane.
Love it.
That's the chorus. Whiskers got me rhymes for days, never running out. He can freestyle with ease, no doubt. His meows and purrs, they all sound like beats. And when he dropped the mic, everyone's on their feet. Meow, meow. I'm a cat who spits fire, rapping all day, never getting tired. From the streets to the alleys, I'm the king of the game. And every time I drop a verse, it's insane.
Love it.
Whiskers'
Wow.
fame spreads far and wide. From the hood to the suburbs, he's got nothing to hide. Every dog respects him, they can't deny that he's got mad skills and he's always fly. So that's the story of Whiskers, the cat who raps. He's got style, he's got soul, and he never slacks. If you see him on the street, give him a shout and he'll drop some rhymes without a doubt.
Oh, love it.
So like, that's the kind of thing, like, I feel like AI is so fun to like go, oh, wait, there's the whole possibility, because as writers, we just get so stuck in our head and like what we know, and it kind of like, it feels like it comes in on us, right? Like the walls close down. As soon as you say right, you're like, whoosh, instead of expanding. So maybe that will be a little inspiring.
Love it. Love it.
Okay,
So our one sentence, ladies, one sentence.
One
one
sentence.
sentence.
Yeah.
And if anybody watched us, which I don't know they did, but if you did, one sentence. That's it.
Love it.
Okay. So we'll see you guys all live next Friday.
I look
At 10
forward to
a.m.
hearing your sentences. Can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait
me
to hear
too.
yours.
Yes.
No expectation attached.
None.
Yes. Right.
It can suck. That's one of the biggest principles of improv is dare to suck. So let's leave it
Yeah.
on that note. Yeah.
Yep.
Dare to
Love
suck.
it.
Dare to suck.
Yep.
Okay, ladies, until next Friday.
Bye.
Till then, see you everyone.